the containment building where the experiments took place. And I'll try to zoom in on this. Okay, camera, focus please. Let me do that. Focus please. There. Now the experiments where they were radiating the materials used to build airplanes with took place in here, and the building was supposed to contain the radiation, but since the leaves on the trees fell off every time they lit the reactor, then I'd say that that didn't work very well. Now we're a little closer to this thing. Okay, do a little radiation check with a Geiger counter here and see what we got. This is surprising, because that is nothing but background radiation right there.
So American Explorer is checking this area out with a Geiger counter to see if there's radiation still present.
And the interesting thing is, it seems to be rising. It's still going. It's still rising. We're not anywhere near a danger zone by any means, but that's interesting. We started out in single digits, and it's still climbing. Now, if we see a three-eyed deer back here, then we'll know. Still climbing.
Yeah, the radiation is still very much present here.
That would still be considered background, I think, but it's stabilizing around 31. That's surprising.
What did you think it would be?
I thought it'd be a little higher than background radiation. And I don't know if it would depend on whether the reactor is still in there or not. There are accounts where they say the reactor was removed, and others that say that it's still in there and just encased in concrete. So I don't know. To me, this may sound silly, but a 50-50 chance of either one happening. But literally, I think the odds are about even on that.
Yeah.
Because they could have done either one. Well, ain't that special?
Oh, this is definitely evidence of somebody going right on in there.
Which is not a good idea.
No, it's not.
I've seen accounts of possibility of cameras in here. I've never seen it.
And it's definitely well posted. There's keep out and no trespassing, like, everywhere.
Yes. And the reason for that is obvious. Now, guys, I've got to be honest with you. I'm dying dead to go in there.
Yeah, it would be cool, but...
I would love to go in there. And Retromantic is right there with me on that. Yes, I knew that.
For sure,
but not a good idea. No. It'd be a safety hazard.
I also don't want to go to jail today.
Well, the prison time wouldn't be too much. Maybe a couple of years. 3 hots and a cot.
You'd have to bail me out.
Yeah, you know that thing.
Guess that's a lot to put on a person in a first video collab, but...
Absolutely. Well, it'll be worth a few views and likes anyway.
That'd probably get more than Centralia if I got sent to jail.
Most likely, absolutely. But as they say, curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought him back. I would sure enough love to, but I know better than that.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not going to be entering this today. Sorry to disappoint, but we got a lot more to show you, so let's go.
Now what I'm currently doing is clearing the trail of spider webs with my face so that Retromantic back here will be all right.
Appreciate that.
You're welcome. Okay, and here's another look at the building. And let's take a look at and oddly enough, radiation level does not seem to be as high here as it was over there. That's surprising. I figured it'd be higher right here. Because radiation permeates buildings and sticks around even if the source of it is gone. And that had to be some powerful radiation coming out of there, because you know the walls on that place are thick. Let's just see something here. Put this on the ground and see what the ground reading. Pretty much background radiation. And here's another location where they've had to come in and fix the fence.
Oh, another one.
You know, all down this whole section here. Now guys, if you recognize where this is, do not come in here and try to get in this fence. For one thing, you'd get in a lot of trouble. You could probably go to prison for it. I have been told of the possibility of cameras in here, of people coming in here, not going inside the fence here, but coming up here and being checked within minutes by law enforcement and maybe a park ranger or two or a forest ranger. And in one of the cases, the people said that the ranger knew their names before they made contact with them, which that would be simple through a tag check on their vehicle. But while I haven't seen any evidence of cameras in here, with today's technology there could be cameras everywhere and just never see it. So best rule of thumb is do not come up here and try that. Just enjoy the view from outside. It's an interesting place, interesting history, but do not try to go inside the fence, and it could also be hazardous to your health. You know, there could be dangerous levels of radiation still present in and around the building, as radiation does permeate structures even after the source of radiation is long gone. So just don't do it. There, get me off the hook.
Yeah, I'm gonna put you saying that on my video too.
Okay.
I can see graffiti.
Yeah, and if the camera will focus, I can't focus through all that, but there's graffiti right there, and exactly what we were talking about. Somebody has been in there and graffitied the building. Looks like it hasn't been, there we go, in the not too distant past. As I said, bad idea. Do another little radiation check here. See what we have. And this is our closest point to the building, and this is, so far at this point, the lowest radiation level that we've encountered.
That's interesting.
We were getting 30 counts per minute on the other end away from it.
I wonder why that would be. Let's play with some of the effects on here. It's got some cool stuff. It's got like, it'll make like just that keep out sign was in color and the leaves around it, but everything else was black and white.
Right.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, when they flip the switch on the reactor, you know, then I guarantee everything down here to turn black and white.
Yeah.
Shiny object syndrome. Haven't seen one of these bushes in a while. It's been a few years. I used to try to eat those as a kid. It's a wonder I'm still alive. probably deadly poison. Hole right there. Found it for you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
No problem. And there's another building right here. This one's kind of hard to see. I actually think that this building here may have been one of the tunnel entrances, because there was a door on the other side of this that kind of went down into what looked like a room, but it's probably a stairway. It's filled in with dirt. All the tunnel entrances have been covered over, and there was somebody that had dug it out and gotten in one of the tunnels, and the authorities are back out here within a couple of days with a bulldozer to cover it back over again. So they do keep a close eye on it. Yeah, why not? And radiation level here, just background radiation, that's it. That is surprising. Just making sure you're all right. I didn't like that sound now.
It was just a little scuffle
There you go.
over top of the root, but I'm good.
Good. And right here we have something that I have no idea what it is. It could have been a ramp, and it could have covered one of the tunnels under here, but I don't know why it would cover a tunnel there unless it covered a tunnel entrance or something. I don't know. I have no idea what I'm looking at here. So another one of the many mysteries surrounding this place. Okay, we have another building foundation here there with a ramp going into it. And I got another little one of my unsubstantiated theories about this. I think there's a possibility that this was a place to load materials into trucks so that anything overhead could not see what was being loaded into it. Those precautions were taken all throughout the Cold War with many of our sites and bases. And even though that may not seem like a valid concern in the United States, the prelude to Pearl Harbor, the way they photographed that was sending somebody to charter a small airplane, like a Cessna, something like that, photographed all of Pearl Harbor, and then sent the photographs to Japanese intelligence. Japanese intelligence. And so aerial detection has always been a concern. Over our bomber factories during the Second World War, we had huge canvases painted to look like cities, and people actually paid to walk along the sidewalks to make it look like a city rather than a bomber factory, and they were very realistic looking. It was incredible to see. So aerial detection was very much a concern. Precautions were taken, so I think there's a possibility that when they wanted to load something that they didn't want seen from the air, they could back a truck up inside it, because there's room enough to go all the way in up here and load something. Then again, it could be nothing more than a maintenance facility to fix vehicles. So those are my two theories on it. My first one's a little more exciting. And that's about it. Find something?
I don't know. What is that?
I have no idea.
I don't either. At first I was like, I hope it's not a snake. Some kind of rare yellow snake.
I figured if this was a snake, you wouldn't be that calm. Yeah.
No, it wasn't moving quite as a snake would, so. Though I am not afraid of snakes. I mean, I'm cautious around them, and I don't mess with them, but I'm not like one of those snake scaredy cats.
Now guys, make a note. Retromantic is not afraid of snakes. She's just cautious.
As one should be.
As one should be.
Now somebody had a campfire here on the corner of the old building foundation. Like AE mentioned earlier, this is a public park now, as you can see. There's even some horses over there, people doing horseback riding, and there's some tents over in the distance. So it's definitely a unique kind of park, you know?
Yes, it is.
With quite a history. Let me not walk in horse crap.
But that cleans off easier than anything. It really does, easier than mud. Because it doesn't stick.
Still don't want to walk through it if I can help it.
And you don't need the details on the composition of horse poop, I'm sure. Now over here is another one of the buildings on the complex. It's used as a parking area. And again, I don't know what building this was. Looks like maybe it was an office building. But the complex was huge, so there is no telling how many buildings of various functions were here. Here's a set of steps right over here. Doesn't look big enough for an office building, but who knows? This was a military installation, so who knows? Another one of my unfounded theories. File that under. I have no idea, really.
And some people apparently like to be trashy in this park.
Yes, lots of trashy going on here.
Sad to see. But yeah, this could have been where they do the administrative work for the nuclear aircraft lab.
But on second thought, this kind of looks like a loading area right here. If you think about it. A truck back in right here. Steps to go up on the dock right there.
That's true too, because the front of an office building probably wouldn't have that small of steps next to that
Right.
area right there. So another loading dock it could have been.
Yeah, I think it's more likely. See, I told you I had no idea. But so much of this is classified still, and so little information is available.
You can't
We're
just
just
Google
guessing.
this.
No, you can't. The information I have is pretty much all there is. So you can't even hazard a guess at a lot of this stuff, other than the main building back there.
And there's no pictures online.
There are some old pictures.
There are.
Yes. But not of the inner workings.
Right, yeah, of the outside of the building. Okay, I might have to look those up.
Yeah, the main ones I saw were of the main containment building back there. And I don't really recall much of anything else. The main building and the smaller building next to it, and the sign out front saying it was Lockheed.
Okay, so we're headed down into the thicket here. And we tell us what we're after here.
Well, other than bodily injury, this is where the pumping station for the nuclear reactor is located, and the water pumped out of the river down here, which you can't see much of because of the overgrowth, was used to cool the reactor. So the remains of the pumping station are still here, and that's what we're going to check out.
All right. Try not to fall. There's a hole. An animal hole, like that. I can see steps over there.
And there it is.
So this is the cooling station.
Yeah, it pumped the water from here back to the reactor. And, oh, I wish I brought my light. And that's a pretty good little ways down there.
I got a flashlight we can shine down. There we go. It's not doing anything.
Yeah, the darkness swallows up light pretty good. Yeah, it's which is amazing. You have super bright LED flashlights now, and a certain amount of darkness will still swallow it up. And just out of curiosity, let's see what we got out here where water was. There shouldn't really be anything out here other than a difficulty in focusing. There we go. Well, let's set it down and see how high it'll go. Now this is doing just like it did before. It's climbing, still climbing. It's still well into the range of background radiation, so it's not dangerous. But it's just interesting out here at the pumping station where there's just been a pump and water. This is the highest reading we've gotten all day.
Oh my god. Yeah, and we had to drive here. This was not in that same little area. We had to drive not far, but a little bit of a ways. And it is higher here than right next to the actual building that either still does or had the reactor.
It's staying right around, but that's the highest reading we've gotten all day. I just want to see something here. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
What are you oh my goshing about?
I'm kidding, that's what.
You made me come over here for nothing?
Absolutely.
It's at 27. That's nothing. He made me turn on my camera. I was done and everything, and he's just like, oh my gosh. Cruel trick. I got all excited.
Yeah, you thought you were going to be glowing in the dark tonight, right? I had to do that at least once.
That old bridge.
And I'm wondering if this was originally part of the railroad that was back here.
That's the question that I had.
There was a railroad that brought supplies and materials in here, and I'm not sure where it was, but the construction of that bridge almost looks like a railroad bridge.
Does.
Yeah, and you can see where it used to be wider than it is now.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a railroad bridge, and then they just built that rickety board part on the top.
Exactly. Well,
the train wouldn't have had, any sides. So it did. When we first went over it, I thought it might have been a train bridge at one point.
Unfortunately, the rails have been taken up. I came here in my previous video and went all over as much as I could, and I never found any rails or any evidence.
Yeah.
This might have been it, and maybe not, I don't know. There are a lot of hiking trails around here. It could have been one of them, but this looks like, to me, the most likely place where the railroad was, because it looks like a railroad trestle.
Yes, it does.
Okay, and that's a wrap for the Nuclear Aircraft Laboratory. This area's version of Area 51, which at one time was a top secret place and very few knew that existed, probably the people that just worked here. So it's been a great day. Checked out some radiation readings, surprisingly low, just background radiation. And along with me today, of course, Retromantic. She will be linked in the description below. So please check her channel out. And she has some great stuff. Very fun channel. It goes in a couple of different directions, but it's all retro related. Anything retro, anything vintage, she covers. She is branching out into exploration, which kind of relates to retro things, because a lot of explorations are retro. And she did a video on a storage facility that had some vintage signs and a couple of old gas stations. You got to check that out. I'll link that up here somewhere if I can.
Thank you.
I'll put it in there somewhere. It may end up here, it may end up there, so it'll be somewhere. So do check it out, and be sure to subscribe to her channel and like her videos as well. And I want to thank you for coming along with me today.
Thanks again for having me. I enjoyed this explore. It was very interesting.
I enjoyed it very much too. So once again, thank you all for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.